Commander Zixtal of the Hegemony Fleet had made many tactical errors in his 300-year military career, but taking Sarah Chen hostage would prove to be his most catastrophic mistake. The mining station Kepler's Hope hung in the void, like a metallic flower, its 7 arms extending into the asteroid field. It was supposed to be an easy target, a remote human outpost with minimal defenses and valuable rare earth deposits. The Hegemony had conquered dozens of similar installations across the galaxy without significant resistance. Zixtal's 4 eyes gleamed with satisfaction as his boarding party secured the station's central hub. 43 humans knelt with their hands behind their heads, their faces displaying the expected mixture of fear and resignation. All except one. Sarah Chen, the station's chief engineer, stood defiant despite the plasma rifle aimed at her chest. Her dark eyes held no fear, only a cold calculation that made Zixtal's chitinous exoskeleton itch with unease. "You've made a mistake," she said quietly, her voice carrying across the silent chamber. Zixtal's mandibles clicked in amusement. "The mistake was yours, human. Resistance is futile. Your species lacks the evolutionary advantages necessary for warfare." "Is that so?" Sarah's lips curved into something that might have been a smile. "Tell me, Commander, how many human colonies has the Hegemony actually conquered?" The question caught Zixtal off guard. His tactical briefings had been surprisingly vague on that point. "Irrelevant. You will surrender your mining codes or I will execute your companions one by one." Sarah shrugged. "Go ahead. But first, let me share something interesting about human psychology." She gestured toward her fellow miners. "See how they're not begging for their lives? How they're not crying or trying to bargain with you?" Zixtal's compound eyes focused on the other humans. It was true. Their faces showed grim determination rather than terror. Several were even smiling. "Humans have this peculiar trait," Sarah continued conversationally. "When one of us is threatened, the rest don't scatter like sensible prey animals. We do something much more dangerous. We get angry. As if summoned by her words, warning klaxons began blaring throughout the station. Zixtal's communication implant crackled to life with panicked reports from his ship. "Commander, long-range sensors detect multiple vessels approaching at impossible velocities." "Sir, we're receiving transmissions on all frequencies. They're not using standard protocols." "Commander, the approaching fleet is broadcasting something called Ride of the Valkyries at maximum volume." Zixtal's eyes widened. "How many ships?" 14. No, 23. Sir, they keep appearing out of hyperspace. Current count is 47 vessels of unknown configuration." Sarah's smile widened. "You see, Commander, when you took this station, you didn't just threaten 43 miners. You threatened someone's daughter, someone's wife, someone's best friend from academy training." She paused, watching the color drain from Zixtal's already pale features. "And humans have this annoying habit of sending rescue parties." The first explosion rocked the station as several somethings, docked with violent enthusiasm. The lights flickered, and through the station's speakers came a voice that made Zixtal's blood freeze in his veins. "This is Admiral Marcus, Chen of the Terran Defense Fleet. You have 30 seconds to release every human on that station before we demonstrate why Earth's military doctrine is built around the phrase, 'excessive force authorized.'" "Chen?" Zixtal looked at Sarah with dawning horror. "My father," she confirmed cheerfully. "Retired admiral, but he still has friends. And humans have another interesting trait. We hold grudges. The last alien species that took human hostages doesn't exist anymore. We didn't destroy their homeworld, mind you. We're not monsters. We just made it very clear that kidnapping humans was a career-limiting decision. The docking bay doors burst open with enough force to send shrapnel ricocheting off the walls. What came through wasn't an organized military unit. It was a tide of powered armor, plasma weapons, and barely contained fury. The humans moved with a coordination that spoke of shared training, shared purpose, and shared rage. Zixtal's boarding party lasted approximately 12 seconds. The human assault force didn't stop to accept surrender. They simply rolled over the alien troops like a technological avalanche, leaving only smoking craters where enemies had stood. Their weapons didn't just kill, they deleted, rendering molecular bonds into component atoms with cheerful efficiency. The thing about humans, Sarah explained to the cowering alien commander as armored figures secured the area around them, is that we're persistence hunters. We evolved to chase our prey across continents until it collapsed from exhaustion. Taking one of us hostage doesn't make us submit. It just tells us exactly where to find you. Admiral Chen materialized beside his daughter, his environmental, suit-bearing scorch marks that suggested he'd personally participated in the boarding action. Sarah, you all right? Fine, Dad. Just explaining human nature to our visitor. The Admiral's faceplate retracted, revealing features that shared Sarah's determination but carried an additional weight of authority. Commander Zixtal, I presume. You've created quite a diplomatic incident. This is excessive, Zixtal's voice cracked with indignation. A proportional response to hostage-taking is negotiation, not annihilation. Proportional? The Admiral's eyebrows rose. Son, you threatened 43 human beings. In response, Earth has mobilized the 3rd, 7th, and 12th fleets. The other species in this sector have contributed an additional 300 vessels. Even the Rigelians sent a dreadnought, and they're pacifists. Sarah patted Zixtal's shoulder with mock sympathy. Here's the thing about taking human hostages. It doesn't just anger the humans you're threatening. It angers all of us. And we have this terrible habit of making friends. Through the station's viewports, Zixtal could see the assembled fleet. Ships of a dozen different species, all bearing the distinctive blue and white marking that indicated alliance with Terra. The sight made his heart sink into his digestive cavity. The hegemony will not stand for this aggression, he managed weakly. The hegemony, Admiral Chen said with grim satisfaction, ceased to exist approximately 10 minutes ago. Your government just voted unanimously to surrender, pay reparations, and formally apologize for this incident. Apparently, they received detailed tactical analyses of what happened to the last 3 species that threatened human civilians. Sarah checked her chronometer. 17 minutes from distress signal to total enemy capitulation. That might be a new record. 18 minutes, her father corrected. But who's counting? As Zixtal was led away in restraints that seemed unnecessarily robust, he could only shake his head in bewilderment. His species had evolved from apex predators, developed faster-than-light travel, and conquered half the galaxy through superior technology and tactics. But they had never encountered a species that treated hostage-taking not as a negotiating tactic, but as a declaration of war against every member of their species simultaneously. The last thing he heard before being transferred to the detention ship was Sarah explaining to a junior officer, "The key thing to remember about humans is that we're not angry because you took hostages. We're angry because you made the mistake of giving us a target." Behind them, The rescue fleet began organizing into hunting formations, ready to ensure that the lesson of human determination spread throughout the galaxy. One way or another,